Welcome to the video series for JICS. Today I'm going to discuss a Microsoft Windows update that will be deployed in March of 2020 and tell you what you need to do to prepare your portal for the update. The intended audience for this video is portal administrators. In March of 2020, Microsoft will deploy an automatic update that forces two features known as LDAP channel binding and LDAP signing to be required for all LDAP and AD/LDS instances. Before this update is applied, you're going to have to turn on SSL for AD/LDS to ensure your portal continues to function after the changes are made. If you don't take the steps in this video before the update, your JICS server will no longer be able to communicate with AD/LDS, and your portal will stop working. The first step in preparing for this update is to obtain a proper security certificate. There are two requirements for that. The certificate must allow server authentication within enhanced key usage. It must also either be issued by a certificate authority trusted by your JICS web server, or it must be self-signed by the AD/LDS server. I'm going to show you two different ways to obtain a certificate. These steps may look different for you depending on how your network is set up. If the current certificate used by IIS is valid and meets those two requirements, you can simply export it and reuse it in AD/LDS. Here's how. In IIS Manager, I'm going to select the server name and open Server Certificates. Now I'm going to right-click the secure certificate that my site is using for SSL, select Export, and save it to my desktop along with a password so I can install it into AD/LDS. I'll show you how to do that later in this video. First, I'd like to explain another option for obtaining a certificate. Instead of using an existing certificate as I just explained, you can also generate a new one in IIS and then export it. Here's how. In IIS Manager, I'm going to select the server name and open Server Certificates. Then click Create Self-Signed Certificate. Enter a name for this certificate. Select Personal for the certificate store and click OK. Now I'm going to right-click the new certificate, select Export, and save it to my desktop along with a password so I can install it into AD/LDS later. So that was two different ways you could obtain a security certificate. One of these methods may work for you, but you can obtain a certificate from any source you deem reliable and secure. Now that you've obtained a security certificate, I'm going to show you the next step in the process of turning on SSL for AD/LDS, which is installing the security certificate into AD/LDS. I'm going to run Microsoft Management Console as an administrator, go to the File menu and select Add Remove Snap-in. Select certificates from the available snap-ins and click Add. Select Service Account and click Next. Here I'll leave the default value Local Computer selected and click Next. Then in the next window I'll scroll down, select ICS-Net, and click Finish. This takes me back to the Add or Remove Snap-ins window where I'll click OK. Back in the console, I'll expand the certificate snap-in that I just added. Right-click Atom ICS-Net /Personal, select All Tasks, Import, and this opens the certificate import wizard. Click Next on this first screen. And on the next one, click Browse. I'll select the security certificate that I'm going to import, and click Next. On the next screen, I'll enter the password for the private key, and click Next. On the next screen, I'm going to leave the default selection for the certificate store as it is and click Next. And then click Finish to import the certificate. Now we need to grant network permissions to the certificate. I'm going to open Explorer and open the Program Data folder on the C drive. Open the Microsoft folder, then Crypto, RSA, and Machine Keys. I'm going to sort this folder by date modified so I can find the file that was created for the certificate I just imported. I'm going to right-click it and select Properties. Go to the Security tab and click Advanced. Now I'm going to click Add to add a permission. Click Select a Principal. And the first thing I'll do is make sure the location is set to the local machine. Note that you might have to provide your network credentials at this point. And then I'll enter the network service role and click Check Names. I'll click OK to add that role as the principal. Next, I'll make sure the read permission is selected and click OK. I'll click OK again in the Advanced Security Settings window and again in the Properties window. And that completes step 2. Now that we've obtained our security certificate, imported it into ADLDS, and granted network permissions to it, the third step is to test the SSL connection to ADLDS. To do that, first I'm going to run the LDP tool as an administrator. And from the connection menu, I'm going to select Connect. In the server field, enter the fully qualified domain name of your server. And in the port field, enter 636. Select the SSL checkbox and click OK. And as you see here, I was able to establish a connection to my server. If you're able to connect, then you're good to go. If the connection fails, it could be a problem with the certificate, or something went wrong in the previous steps I discussed earlier in this video. You'll have to make sure the connection is working before you continue with these steps. Now that we've verified the SSL connection to ADLDS, we're ready for step 4, which is to update your JICS settings to connect via SSL. If you're comfortable writing SQL, you could accomplish this step that way. I'm going to show you how to do it by editing the database in Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. I'm going to expand the tables in the ICSnet database and scroll down to the Framework Configuration Settings table. I'm going to right-click it and select Edit Top 200 Rows. Then I'll find the row with the key of Directory Connection String and change its port value to 636, which is the port that ADLDS uses for SSL connections. Now I'm going to run an IIS reset. I'll open the command prompt type IIS reset and hit enter. This might take a few moments to complete. Once IIS resets, you should log into your site and make sure everything appears to be working as it should. If that's the case, then the SSL connection to AD/LDS has been completed successfully. If you want to confirm that you won't run into any problems after Microsoft applies the automatic update, there's a way to simulate the changes by updating the registry to force channel binding and signing. Here's how. Run the command prompt as an administrator. And execute these two lines. After that, you'll have to do another IIS reset and retest your site to make sure it's working as expected. And that concludes our video. Thank you for watching.